You're listening to the Talking Air Filtration podcast, where you get to know the people that make air filtration possible and help us all breathe easier. Because clean air matters.
We'll get insights from air filtration professionals and learn how they became successful in their careers. Along the way, we will discuss best practices, guidelines, trends, and challenges in air filtration in a variety of applications. We hope HVAC, air filtration, and indoor air quality pros, including business development, engineering, building owners, and facilities management, will enjoy the insights our guests will bring to this podcast. In this episode, we dive into a dynamic roundtable discussion on navigating the ever-changing economic landscape. Alex Chausovsky explores the real-world implications of economic shifts and shares practical strategies businesses can use to stay ahead. Get ready for an insightful conversation filled with actionable takeaways.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back. I'm glad that I didn't run you off in that first session. When Emily and I were first talking about this next session, I really wanted to give you an opportunity to both engage with your peers from the industry and to hear their perspectives on some of the challenges and opportunities that your industry is facing. And so the idea here is engagement with your peers rather than with me. And we're going to put up some questions up on the screen. I'll read the question. I'm going to give all of you somewhere around maybe 6 to 8 minutes per question to discuss with others at your table your perspective from your company. I will ask that you designate someone who will be the public face so that at the end I will call on some tables. Somebody can stand up and say what they heard. So that we get the perspective of the entire room. So this is going to be the business roundtables discussion groups, and we'll get things kicked off on the topic that I touched on at the end of my presentation, which is the labor market. So the question here is, despite a cooling labor market, the availability of talent continues to be a challenge, especially for specific roles. What do you find that candidates today want most in an employer? What works best to retain the people that you already have? So if your table has only a few people, feel free to merge with another table next to you to get a little bit more robust conversation. And again, remember, I will call on you guys afterwards to stand up and report out to the back of the room. So let's take 8 minutes. It's 10:02 right now till 10:10, and then we'll hear back from everybody. So please discuss. Some good conversations happening, so that's good. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can bring your conversations to a close, please. So as everybody was talking, I was kind of making the rounds, listening in. I heard everything from pay and benefits to remote work to everything in between. So I'd love to hear your perspective. I hope you designated someone that will be willing to stand up and report out. I'm going to pick on this table right here first. So if you could just share the thing that you heard that was most compelling in your conversation, please.
Okay.
And introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Hello. My name is Patrick, and I have already introduced myself once this morning, but I will be glad to speak. The table had a pretty good consensus around competitive pay. I think, trying to do some research on the current market and figure out what people are making in that same position and trying to be competitive. We also heard flexibility, trying to give some flexibility to employees, whether it's hours. Maybe you have a top performing employee that would like to do some at-home work, something like that. Those things are important. And then the last thing was just trying to be a leader who's a very good listener to their employees. And there's just so many things that you can say yes to your employees without making big capital investments or big changes. Every time someone comes to you with an important piece of information they want to share, a direct no is always the worst way to approach it. So just trying to be a good listener.
Yeah, no, those are competitive pay, flexibility, and listening are the three things that I heard. all of those are spot on. We'll be talking about that more tomorrow. So I'm glad that that was part of the conversation for you guys. How about this table here? Can you share something? Yep. Can you share something that you discussed? Anything that was not already covered? And introduce yourself, please, sir. You can do this.
Okay. Scott Riddell. We had a lot of similar things they discussed. With the benefits, we've had to increase wages, other things, but the retainage, we try to stay involved with them. Like you said, listening, knowing, understanding what they've got going on in their lives sometimes is a biggie. So we try to get pretty flexible with things, and I don't know, I think everybody across the United States probably has about the same thing going on, but so that's what we discussed.
Okay, thank you so much. How about this table here?
Hello, I'm Lori with Joe Fly Company. We said a lot of the same things, but to add to what candidates want most, they want more PTO, and they want engagement at work, and recognition is something we said that we all agreed on. And as far as retaining the people you have, they want really all that same thing: the flexible schedule, more money, raises, more PTO. We found out PTO here is about 8 weeks in Australia. They also want a sense of purpose and a good culture at work to retain these people.
Wonderful. I am curious, if you don't mind raising your hand, has anyone gone to unlimited PTO in this room? I hear a lot of mumbling. I do see a gentleman here. Would you mind just sharing your experience with that program since you've implemented it?
Yeah, I am fortunate to...
Hold 1 second. I obviously touched on a very sensitive topic here. Please, sir, go ahead.
I am fortunate to work for a boss that gives all his employees unlimited.
And in your company's experience, has it led to any negative consequences?
No. He says as long as the work gets done, it doesn't matter how often we take off or for how long. Yeah, he says it's the work being accomplished that's the main goal. And as a result, he does not have much turnover in employees, because it makes for a much happier work environment.
Yeah. All right. Well, I encourage all of you who are mumbling about it to speak to this gentleman offline afterwards about his experience. All right. Thank you guys very much. We'll move on to the next question. So this is also touching on labor, but from a very different perspective. The shortage of labor is making the urgency for NAFA members to automate their processes and production greater than ever. When considering automation solutions, where or which positions or applications do you see the biggest opportunity to automate your business to make it less reliable on human talent? To do so, and why? I think the why is also very, very important. So take another 8 minutes, talk about automation as you see it unfolding in your companies, and then I'll ask some other folks to report out. All right. Please bring the conversation to a close. Once again, as I was kind of traversing the room, I heard a lot of really interesting concepts. Automation in the most usual format, robotics and machine automation was one area I heard a lot about. Software automation in terms of some of the functions that you all engage in, whether it's customer service or anything like that. And then there was even some conversation about robotics as a service that I heard. So some really interesting concepts. I'm going to ask this table here to report out, please, first, if you guys don't mind. So, what are the biggest opportunities to automate and why?
Are your air filtration personnel NAFA certified? Ask if they belong to NAFA and have their certified air filter specialist or NAFA certified technician designations. The CAFS and NCT designations are earned after rigorous exams and demonstrate that the air filtration professional has a high degree of knowledge and professionalism. To learn more about NAFA certifications, visit nafahq.org.
We had a bunch. I won't steal everyone else's thunder, so I'll leave some. The first one we talked about was accounting, so collections, AR, AP, A lot of software automation there. Recently, we switched to from paper to email, paper to email, so that we can stop trifolding pamphlets and sending them out. Order entry, looking to transition that job to the customer themselves so that they can place their orders automatically online. So we talked about service and deliveries, just recurring orders, getting those on a schedule so they automatically populate, pick tickets, print, out the door. And then with purchasing as well, so min-max, order up to economic order quantity, just getting something in place so that you're not manually placing those POs on a regular basis.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, we see more and more companies looking for that efficiency in the process side of things, particularly as human labor is much more difficult to come by. So those are great ideas. Thank you very much. How about this table here? Any ideas on automation, please?
I am Anthony Thomas with Tex Air Filters. My answer is going to be a little unconventional.
Okay.
Yeah, automation solutions. We're employee focused, so we understand if we take care of our employees, that our employees are going to take care of our customers. If we do anything to automate our business, at least from the minds at this table, it's going to take away jobs from our employees, and that's something actually that we don't want to do. Automation will help with revenue and profit, but at the same time, you're dealing with families and people. So I don't have a direct, or we don't have a direct answer to this question.
That's a very interesting perspective. I mean, obviously, the human element comes into play. The strike that we were just talking about on the East Coast, obviously, that's a big sticking point, is the workers don't want automation implemented because they fear it's going to take jobs. I think increasingly, I'm becoming convinced that it's not an either or. It's not human or machine, but rather the synergy between humans and machines that can yield greater productivity and output without costing companies jobs. So, but it's really certainly an interesting point of conversation. My suggestion is connect with some of the folks at this table just to hear about some of the software solutions that they're able to use so that their people become more productive as a result of that without having to lose any of those people. But that was a really interesting perspective. Okay, how about the table in the back, if you don't mind, sharing your perspectives on automation, please.
Hi, it's Jay with Sanuvox. Most of ours was on the software automation side. For multiple different facets of that. And even in our business, it's the sales and sales revenue, leads and handling leads, more of an automated process than the old physical kind of cuff it and stuff it kind of thing. So,
okay.
But mostly in software.
Yeah. Does anyone have something to share on the hardware side, equipment, machinery related? Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the warehouse and packaging systems. So just in our warehouse alone, we've implemented barcode scanning, which the answer to be why would be it's reducing errors, it's increasing time, efficiencies. And then also on the packaging side, we have so many different varying sizes and shapes in our industry that having that one size fits all box also has massive amounts of packaging. So we have a machine now that can actually read the size of the order, create a box, which in turn reduces waste, that type of thing as well. But to his point about kind of replacing, I think sales is one of the things that people focus on the most. And using like an AI in sales should make a salesperson more efficient, not replace them, because you can't replace an interaction. If somebody tells me the problem, the AI can't do it. But just figuring out ways where the data integrity, you can get all that painstaking notes and information that we want to collect from our sales teams automatically goes into the CRM. It can take all that data, which now gives us good marketing data, which now increases the efficiency and effectiveness of marketing. So there's the hardware side and the software side as well. And it's to your point about making an employee more efficient, not about replacing that employee.
Yeah, no, this is an excellent perspective. I really appreciate that, especially given our next topic of conversation, which are how are advancements in AI changing the way manufacturers, distributors, and service providers are doing business? What are some real-world examples of AI use in your operation? And I will preface this by saying that most people, when you say AI, they don't mean the same thing. Some people will mean like ChatGPT and the large language models that are being implemented across a lot of organizations. Other people are talking about a machine that's able to plot the path of a robot automatically from point A to point B. So talk about the idea of AI in general as you see it pertaining to your organization. And if you have any examples to share of either yourself or maybe your suppliers or customers implementing AI to actual real-world, tangible, positive effects, that would be great. So take 8 minutes, discuss the impact of AI on doing business within your industry and for your company. Go ahead. Well, that was certainly the most spirited discussion I heard so far. Lots of opinions, lots of excitement. I heard everything from AI agents being implemented to social media implications to, gentlemen in the back in the pink shirt, if you don't mind sharing what you told me. I thought that was quite clever, and I heard some other tables doing it as well.
So I figured that, my name is Mike, I'm from Sanivox. I figured that I'd ask the question to ChatGPT to make it about air filtration, and it gave 3 examples. Essentially, it CamFill, IQ Air, and Blue Air. I have no clue if this is true, but yeah, it's pretty impressive. So anyway,
so
overall,
using AI to get some ideas on the use of AI. I mean, that's fantastic.
So essentially
I like
monitoring air quality and then telling, advising when to replace filters. CamFill apparently is working on that as per AI. There's no one from CamFill here. I don't know if it's true, but I thought it was pretty interesting. So
fantastic. Real world implication. I love it. How about this table here? Do you guys have any interesting things to share?
Just creating content. I think there's only one company here. Both Gail and I are retired, so we could barely spell AI between the two of us.
Okay.
So their idea was using it to create content and sending it to or putting it on their website, Facebook and LinkedIn to.
So like marketing and PR style content.
Mostly on that.
Fantastic idea. People ask me if I use AI in the work that I do. I'm like, yeah, Alex's intelligence. I use it all the time. But that's neither here nor there. How about the table in the back? Do you have anything to share?
Peter with Filter Technologies. We do use AI. We're a smaller company, but some HR-related tasks are easily done by AI. ChatGPT-O, whatever, the latest version. Just give it some details and say, write this up for me. And you just take that information, put it into your own document, and save yourself 2-3 hours of work. Market research. We've done customer research. When I go call on a customer, what filters can we sell them? You just give them a name, a website, location, and they'll do an amazing job of actually doing research for you and giving you some really good potential leads.
Fantastic. If we can get the mic to the table in the very back, please. Those guys have skirted by so far without providing input, but we're going to call on them next.
Well, this group here, they wanted to know who Al was first. And then most of them still use fax machines, so it was a tough conversation. But really, some of the real world applications for this, from a manufacturer's perspective, we do use AI for reporting, and basically it's a device that summarizes conversations and imports into an Excel document, basically. So that was really our only use of AI.
Okay. Does anyone in the room use an AI agent to handle questions on your website?
Yes, we use an AI communicator when we're doing our go-to meetings. Many of our employees are in various parts of the country, different places, so we do meetings daily, and the communicator often can keep track of notes and stuff for you if you miss a part of a meeting or most of it. And very often you have to go back and check notes and see what was said, and if I was even given a task that I wasn't there for. So.
Is there someone that has an actual agent on the website? When a customer goes to your website and they have questions, that has someone implemented an AI agent to answer the most basic questions? Anyone in the room doing that?
No direct experience, but we do have a customer that has a bot that'll reply back to the customer inquiring, just a placeholder. We're looking on it and we'll get back to you. But what they do is they go on the back end and they take the information that was given to them, and AI will go and do the research for the representative, and then it'll shoot them an email saying, hey, they asked for XYZ. Here are the top 3 URLs of what we found on there. So it gives you like a kickstart to the research. And then they say they use that, and then they're equipped with information to reply back to them and start working
fantastic.
on it.
Awesome. Thank
Don't
you
know
for
the
sharing.
effectiveness or how good the information was, but they said they used it. So
Okay, very good. One other really good example I see is in the quoting process. So I'm thinking particularly of an industry where there's a lot of handwritten notes that the salespeople take, and there are AI agents that can read the handwritten notes, translate it into an actual order form, and bypass that whole process. Anyone doing anything similar to that in this sector? Okay, the feedback I've received is that has been very powerful for them. It's just to look into doing an AI agent tool that aids the sales process is also something that I think is worth looking into. So I thank you very much for your participation. I hope you heard some interesting novel ideas, and please continue the conversations as you network and as you meet other people in the group. So with that, thank you again for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Air Filtration Podcast, a production of the National Air Filtration Association. Clean air matters.